All right, let's dive in. Welcome to our deep dive on all things robotics and automation. Ready to explore?
I'm ready.
Perfect. So we've got this really interesting podcast script that we're going to dissect today.
Okay.
It's all about equipping you with the essential English vocab and phrases to chat about robotics like a pro.
Nice.
And, this isn't just for the tech-savvy folks out there. This stuff's impacting every industry imaginable.
It really is.
Healthcare, manufacturing, you name it.
Absolutely.
So let's jump right in, why don't we? Our source kicks off by defining, the basics, robotics, and automation.
Okay.
And it says robotics is all about the design, the building, the programming of robots.
Right.
Whereas automation uses tech to do tasks, minimizing that human input as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I know those definitions might sound a little textbooky.
A little bit.
But think about it. We're talking about machines that can perform surgery, that can build cars, even help us out around the house.
It's incredible, isn't it? Just how far robotics has come. And you're right. It's not just about replacing human labor. It's about working together, like enhancing our abilities.
Exactly. And speaking of working together, the script pulls out this term. Maybe you've heard it, maybe not. Cobot, short for collaborative robot.
Yeah, I like that term. Cobots. It's because they're designed to actually work safely around humans.
Really?
Like, imagine sensors, right?
Okay.
That can detect if a person's nearby, and they can adjust their movements, like super cool stuff. And they're already making waves in industries like manufacturing.
Oh, wow.
Handling tasks like welding, assembly, packaging, all working, side by side with humans.
I didn't realize it was that advanced already.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing, like having an extra set of hands, but super precise and never get tired.
Exactly.
Our source digs into some other, must-know robotics vocabulary.
Right.
And I thought end effector sounded pretty interesting. What is that?
So an end effector, think of it like the robot's hand, right? It's that tool or device at the end of a robot arm that interacts with the environment. So it could be a gripper, a welding torch, even a surgical instrument.
Oh, the part that does the actual work.
Precisely.
Okay, so it's specialized.
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah.
Now, the script mentions sensors and actuators as like key components of robots.
Right.
Can you break those down for us? What are those exactly?
Yeah, so sensors are like the robot's senses. It's how they perceive their surroundings, collecting data, things like distance, temperature, light, all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Actuators, those are like the muscles. So they allow the robot to move and interact with the world based on, what the sensors are telling it.
So sensors, like the eyes and ears, and actuators are the arms and legs.
Perfect analogy. You got it.
Okay, great. And of course, you can't talk about robots without AI, right? Artificial intelligence.
Of course not. It's everywhere these days.
It's everywhere. But how does it actually relate to robotics specifically? What's the connection?
Well, it's like AI gives the robots a brain,
Yeah.
It allows them to learn, to adapt, to make decisions, to go beyond just their programming.
Okay.
AI algorithms, they're used to process that sensor data, right? Plan movements and actually control the robot's actions. And then you have like a subset of AI, machine learning, which allows robots to, improve their performance over time. They learn from their experiences, which is pretty amazing.
That is pretty wild. It's like they're constantly evolving and getting smarter.
Exactly.
It's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
That whole idea of like robots getting smarter and smarter. But, shifting gears a little bit, our source gives us some really handy phrases for talking about this stuff, about robotics and automation.
Yeah, I think those are really helpful because you can go beyond just defining the terms and actually have, really interesting conversations about it all.
Exactly, yeah.
Like instead of just saying, robots are used in manufacturing, you could say robots are being deployed in factories to like increase efficiency and improve worker safety,
Oh, yeah, that's so much better, much more specific.
Yeah.
It's like it paints a clearer picture.
Right.
I noticed they also included phrases about the benefits of robotics. Like one that caught my eye was automation can free up human workers from those repetitive tasks, allowing them to focus on, more creative and strategic work.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point to highlight. A lot of people are concerned about automation and job displacement.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's also creating new opportunities and enhancing those existing roles.
Right. It's not just about replacing humans. It's finding ways for humans and robots to work together. I like that.
Exactly.
The script even touches on some of the challenges like cybersecurity.
Oh, right.
Having to have like really strong measures in place to protect against hacking and make sure these robots are operating safely?
Yeah, and that is huge. I mean, as robots become more integrated into our lives, making sure they're secure and reliable, that's essential.
Absolutely.
We've got to think about things like data encryption and, secure communication protocols,
Yeah.
fail-safe mechanisms to, prevent those accidents from happening.
Yeah, it's like any new technology, right?
Yes.
You have to be aware of the risks and figure out how to minimize them.
Right.
So I really love that they encourage listeners to actually use these phrases in conversation.
Me too.
They even suggest, like, practicing, describing a robot you've seen in a movie, or discussing how automation could impact, a certain industry.
Yeah, it's about taking that knowledge and actually using it, getting comfortable talking about robotics, in a way that is informed and engaging.
Absolutely. I'm ready to give it a try. What about, imagine a future where robots assist surgeons in performing those complex procedures with, like, amazing precision, reducing recovery times, and improving patient outcomes. What do you think?
That is an excellent example. I think you've really grasped the key concepts here.
Nice.
And you're able to, articulate them in a way that really highlights the potential benefits of robotics.
It feels good to be able to talk about this stuff without, like, searching for the right words.
Exactly.
So, something that got me thinking, the script mentions briefly this idea of robots developing consciousness or, like, emotions.
Yeah.
Is that something we should even be worried about at this point?
That is a really fascinating question, and it's really complex. I mean, right now, robots, they're not anywhere near achieving anything like human consciousness.
Right.
But it's a topic that people are talking about a lot
Oh, for sure.
and speculating about.
Yeah, it makes you think, as technology advances, it's only natural to wonder about those ethical implications.
Right.
Like, where do we draw the line between humans and machines? But for now, it seems like we're safe. It's still science fiction.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
now. It is pretty wild to think about, though, where all this could lead. But let's bring it back down to earth for a minute. Our source also talks about, like, some common mistakes people make when they're talking about this stuff, like using robotics and automation interchangeably.
Yeah, it's an easy mistake to make.
Yes, right.
Robotics is really focused on robots, like the design, the building, how they operate, all that. But
Right.
automation is a broader term. It includes any tech that's used to automate a task. It might not even involve robots.
So, like, a simple timer on a coffee maker,
Exactly.
that's automation, but it's not robotics.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. They also say to avoid, overloading conversations with too much technical jargon.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Not everyone knows what degrees of freedom or inverse kinematics means.
Right.
It's better to just use simpler language unless you're talking to someone who, really knows their robotics.
Yeah, you don't want to lose people in the conversation.
Exactly. The goal
Yeah.
is to communicate clearly.
Keep it accessible.
Yes.
So I guess the big question is, why does all this matter to our listener? Why should they care about, learning the language of robotics and automation?
Well, I think as we've seen today, robotics and automation, it's changing so many industries
Oh, yeah.
and so many parts of our lives.
Absolutely.
And so understanding the language, it allows you to participate in these conversations, ask good questions, make informed decisions.
Be a part of it.
Exactly.
Whether you're thinking about a career in robotics or, maybe you're investing in some automation technology, or even if you just want to stay up to date, this knowledge, it's so valuable.
It really is.
It's like having a secret decoder ring for the future.
Yeah.
You can understand the headlines, figure out what it all means, maybe even help shape where this whole field is going.
Absolutely.
That's exciting. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
I think so, too.
From basic definitions to real-world stuff, even those big ethical questions, I feel like our listeners are ready to go out there and talk about robotics with confidence.
They are. And remember, it's all about continuous learning. This field is constantly changing,
It is.
Keep that curiosity going. Never stop exploring. Never stop asking questions.
Great advice. Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive today, and I hope everyone feels a little more fluent in the language of robotics and automation. Remember, you don't have to be an engineer to appreciate this stuff.
Not at all.
So go out there, embrace the world of robots, and keep those conversations going.
Yeah. Happy exploring, everyone.